Welcome back to One on One, New York's longest running sports call in show. Sam Davis here. A pleasure to be joined by Sweeny Murti, Yankees beat reporter for WFAN. Sweeny, I know that you're very busy this time of year, but thank you so much for taking some time.
Yeah, Sam, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So, my first question, I just want to get you've had some time. I assume you're back in New York now. So, you've had some time to kind of sleep through everything, sleep off the loss, just the general impressions from game two. The Yankees lose 3-2, go down in the series. What are your overall just general thoughts now on the series
Yeah,
and
I
on
mean,
yesterday's game?
it just feels like there's a small difference, even though it feels like the Yankees have gotten their brains beat in for the last 2 days. It's really a very small gap between winning and losing in these two games. And I'll go back to like the scoring there were really two scoring opportunities for both teams yesterday. Really, that ended up right. The Astros scored their 3 in the third inning. The Yankees scored their 2 in the fourth inning. That's the final score. Well, when Bregman comes up with 2 outs and 2 on, he's got 2 strikes on him, and he hits a 3-run home run. Rizzo comes up with 2 outs and nobody on, and he hits a ground ball out. And then Gleyber Torres hits an infield single. And then the 2 strikeouts after that are part of the larger narrative, all the strikeouts. But, the Astros hit a 3-run homer and the Yankees hit a ground out and an infield single. That's the difference in the game. And I think there's a tendency to feel as if the Astros are employing some sort of different math to offense here, where they're wrapping out 14 and 15 hits and hitting with runners in scoring position. And they have 1 hit with runners in scoring position. It was Bregman's 3-run homer.
Yep.
I mean, I'm fond of saying on the radio that 3-run homers win ball games.
Yep.
Unfortunately for the Yankees, they also lose them. And the Astros have a top-heavy lineup, same as the Yankees do, and their bottom half of the order has come up with some big 2-strike hits, some big 2-out hits, and that's been the biggest difference here. And the Yankees haven't pitched poorly. The strikeout disparity speaks to some different thing here, but the Astros have put the ball in play and made outs with them. They haven't been peppering the Yankees with hits that score runs. They just happen to hit home runs. I understand that you get more chances and things like that, but I mean, listen, bottom line is the Astros they hit 2-strike home runs off of Clark Schmidt, and they hit a 2-strike home run off of Luis Severino. It's not a very big gap right there. So I think the Yankees have Garrett Cole and Nestor Cortez lined up on full rest, which they should feel good about.
Yep.
And hope that they can figure out how to score some runs or maybe get one in their last at bat, which helps when you're at home.
You mentioned the runners in scoring position. You mentioned hitting home runs. You had a great tweet, I thought, about, just talking about just that, the 1 hit with runners in scoring position for both teams, obviously being an infield single for Torres and then the 3-run homer for Bregman, both happening in game 2. So looking at kind of those issues that have been talked about between hitting with runners in scoring position, the lack of home runs for the Yankees so far, and the high strikeout numbers, to you, which one of those 3 do you see as the most important and potentially one of the biggest reasons the Yankees find themselves down 2-0?
I mean, it's the home runs that they've given up. I mean, that's hit home runs and don't give them up. I mean, that's basically what the postseason comes down to. So I just feel like the Yankees have it's funny too, with the strikeouts that they produced. Judge and Stanton are not the guys striking out. They each have 1 in these first 2 of the 30. They account for 2. The lineup is pretty top heavy. It has been for a while. It's accentuated when you're facing a really good pitching team like the Astros. So everything basically from the 5 spot on down, it's kind of the same for both teams. You're kind of looking for a puncher's chance in those spots. And, if you're going to keep, the Yankees have kept Altuve and Alvarez in check. The Astros have kept Judge and Stanton in check. So who else is looking for somebody else to find it? Yuli Gurriel did not have a great regular season. He's kind of found it in the postseason. He's kind of, been kind of a red light player here this last week. Chas McCormick and, if Chas McCormick is hitting home runs and Marty Maldonado is hitting RBI 2-out doubles, those are kind of things like the Yankees need one of those, right? Like They need Trevino or Cabrera or somebody else to get one of those hits at the bottom of the order and maybe turn it over so there's traffic up top. I don't think there's a magic formula. I just think that, the Astros have hit some big home runs, and that goes same for the Seattle series. I mean, they played 17 scoreless innings, right? Like that offense is not a juggernaut. That offense has been held down, and they've gotten hits in the right spots because they haven't lost the game yet.
I got to ask, what are your thoughts from Aaron Boone last night and his comments on the Judge ball? That was very, very close to being a home run. Obviously, the roof was open, so the wind was a factor. I'm just curious what your thoughts were on those comments after the game.
Well, I think it's important to understand how the question was asked of him and how it was phrased to him to begin with. He didn't sit down before a question was asked and say, we'd have won the ball game if Judge's home run wasn't knocked down by the wind. There was a very specific question asked of him of that ball and the roof being open and how it played. So he answered the question that was asked of him. And then it's, oh, why is he whining about this? Well, he's not. There is not when you strike out 30 times and lose the first 2 games of a playoff series to a team that you've lost to 2 other times in playoff series recently, there is not going to be an answer you can give that's going to satisfy anybody and not sound like anything that you want to throw your brick at. It's just kind of the way it is. They have to win some games. I think it's kind of factual about the idea. He's just basically stating facts about what took place in that at bat. So I didn't read too much into that. I think we're making too much out of dissecting an answer without listening to the question and really just trying to find something to be angry at because they lost.
Here with Sweeny Murti, the Yankees beat reporter for The Fan. Sweeny, as somebody that's close with the team, I'm just curious, what right now would you characterize kind of the vibe in the clubhouse? Obviously, understandably disappointed going down 2-0, but is there a sense that the team feels like they're still right in this series? Like you said, the game's very close as well, and also heading home back to the Bronx. What is the kind of vibe in the clubhouse right now?
I mean, they've got Garrett Cole pitching the next game, right? And the players are very narrow focused because they have to be. They're not thinking about game 4, 5, 6, or 7. They're thinking about game 3. Okay. They've got Garrett Cole pitching game 3. And I don't think you can be any more confident going into that and saying, okay, do you have a chance to win? Yeah, of course you have a chance to win. And that's really all you can think about. Like I said, they weren't blowing it. It would also be different if they lost these games like 11-0. I think you'd feel like, you're fighting an uphill battle. And that's not the case. I mean, honestly, it was 3-2, right? In the 4th inning. So the Yankees took, hold on, let's see here. 2, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 chances to tie or take the lead, right?
Yep.
18 times they came up. I mean, that's, they didn't get their doors blown off. It might have looked like because he kept striking out, but you had 18 people come up that had a chance to either tie or take the lead because he had a guy on base. I think he'll take that same thing. I mean, sure, you want to strike early. The difference in baseball is that the team that takes the lead can dictate how the bullpen is deployed. And the Yankees did that very early in game 5 against Cleveland. They have not been able to do that in any of the first 2 games against Houston. So it's really it, just go out there and try to take the lead and have Garrett Cole do what he does.
How important have the injuries been in the first 2 games of this series? Obviously, it seems to be certain that the Yankees seem to be missing, especially DJ LeMahieu, as well as, Benintendi out. You've got some pieces in the bullpen missing, obviously. How impactful have those losses been so far in the ALCS?
I had a team executive tell me several years ago, like almost 10 years ago, he said, there is no contingency plan for your best players. And if you stop and think about it, it's entirely true. Yes, your job as a team, as players, managers, to push forward, next man up, and all that sounds great. And you can sell lots of t-shirts with that. But when your best players are not playing, you don't have a second set of best players who are equally as good who just go in and give you the same results. The Yankees traded for Andrew Benintendi because they needed him in the outfield because Joey Gallo wasn't what they wanted when they traded for him. So they had a very good first half of the season and said, okay, where are our weak spots? Our weak spot is left field. Okay, go trade for Andrew Benintendi. They did. He's hurt. DJ LeMahieu has been one of the Yankees' best players when he's been healthy the last few years. He's not healthy right now. And because he's not, you lack the ability to maybe take Josh Donaldson out of the lineup and put DJ LeMahieu in there. Really, there and the bullpen. I mean, how many different guys can you run down before you say
a lot?
Yeah, before you say, okay, maybe this guy isn't as good as that guy, or maybe we're missing that guy. It's just hard to replace a lot of those. And like I said, you can sell all the t-shirts you want with slogans, but when it comes down to it, you need your most talented players out there. And if they're not out there, it's going to be harder to win. Not that you can't, it's just harder to do. And that's what the Yankees are finding out.
Looking ahead to game 3, you mentioned Garrett Cole, of course, will be getting the ball, and Nestor Cortez going in game 4 as well. What do you expect from those guys? I know Garrett Cole has had his criticisms in the past in the postseason, but obviously in that series against Cleveland, he showed, pretty much shut them up. So what do you expect from Garrett Cole? And overall, the pitching, for the Yankees, starting pitching has been very solid in this series. So just your impressions on the pitching, and especially Garrett Cole going in game 3.
Yeah, I'd expect you get the best of him, and he's pitched very well in the last 2 playoff games, as you said. He's pitched very well against the Astros the last couple of times he's faced them. I think the evidence you've seen so far tells you you're going to get a good performance. Now, if you don't get one, does it make you write a whole book about why Garrett Cole stinks or isn't the ace? No. I mean, stuff happens sometimes, right?
Yep.
So I think that he has shown up for you in some very important games here already, and you have some confidence that he's going to do that again. Does it mean he absolutely will? No. Nestor Cortez is in a big spot, and the first big spot he was in, he showed up really well and did it again on short rest. If you're the Yankees, you have some confidence that you're throwing your 2 best pitchers out there in the 2 most important games of the year, being down 2-0 in the best of 7. And, you just throw them out there and hope that it works out for you.
Yankees beat reporter for the fans, Sweeny Murti. Just a couple more before getting you out of here. Just looking at, the remainder of this series back in the Bronx, that the crowd is going to be rocking. What do the Yankees need to do to turn this around? I know it's a simple question and there might be a lot of answers to it, but what's the biggest thing for you that the Yankees need to do to get back in this series?
Score early. Like I said, the team that, you've seen what the Astros are bringing out of their bullpen, right? What the Yankees can bring out of their bullpen. Loaizaga, Holmes, Peralta, all still very much a part of this and very important pieces. You can't get to them if you don't have the lead, okay? Score runs early, hit some balls out of the ballpark, get the crowd into it. Let Houston know early that you intend to make this a long series. Best way to do that is to put up some runs early in the game, and you dictate the bullpen, which relievers you're going to use, which relievers they're going to use. It's really quite simple. It's hard to do, but it's quite simple.
So finally, as we record this here on Friday, Yankees down 2-0. Sweeny, I just want to get your prediction for the remainder of the series. I know that's a tough question, but who wins this series? How many games? You already have a 2-game head start here.
Yeah, I don't make predictions because okay. I'm either lucky or I'm wrong. There's only 2 choices. I'm not great at predicting. You're either lucky that you got it right or you were just flat out wrong. Listen, I lived through watching the Yankees take a 3-0 lead that teams never lose, and they lost. So anything happens. Hit a couple of home runs, get a great pitch game, get back into this series, and set it up for the next one. Just win the next one. That's really all they can do.
Sweeny Murti, Yankees beat reporter for WFAN. All the updates on the Yankees battle with Houston in the ALCS. Sweeny, thanks so much for being with me today.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate you having me.
We'll be right back here with more one-on-one. Stick around.